everyone, it's Makeda Voletta, also known as the Body Scientist and the Renaissance Amazon, and I hope you all are well today. In case you are unfamiliar with me, I have a background in exercise and sports science and sports nutrition. I'm an exercise physiologist, a strength and conditioning coach, a sports nutritionist with a holistic approach, okay? And I work with people with a variety of health issues. Exercise physiology is all about understanding really how the body works, how exercise and physical movements affect the body and how different health issues and all that affects physiology. Okay, and so you really get a good understanding of that when you're studying it from the exercise physiological perspective and from the nutrition perspective, okay? And so today I want to talk about why there's such a high percentage of Afro Americans who are getting sick and dying from COVID in the United States. There's been a lot of people having conversations about this, and with every single topic, there's a lot of different angles that you can look at it from, okay? But I have seen a lot of Black people who are talking about, the disparities in healthcare, and they're blaming it on systematic racism. And in some ways that could be the case, but I think that's it's kind of back there. I think there's some other things that highly need to be considered. So for those of you who follow my videos on my page, The Body Scientist, because right now I'm live on IG at the Renaissance Amazon, and I'll be posting this video on my YouTube page, the Renaissance Amazon. But my other YouTube page, The Body Scientist 81, where I really get into a lot of science, health science stuff. A lot of you have heard me talk a lot about certain nutritional deficiencies. They really open you up for all kinds of diseases, and that includes infectious diseases. Now, in general, I think that there's a lot of malnutrition in the world, not just in America, and not just among Black Americans. Even in the United States, you have a lot of people who are not Afro-American who are also malnourished and have a lot of health problems. But we all know that diabetes, for one, is super common in the Afro-American community. Either diabetes, high sugar, and but I know a lot of people, who are not Afro-American who are still diabetic. But Afro-American community and Native Americans too, have a huge issue with diabetes. And diabetes opens you up to being super susceptible to infections. And the reason why is because people who are diabetic, pre-diabetic, have high blood sugar, are hypoglycemic, have insulin resistance, high insulin, all of those things, it opens you up because you have more ACE2 receptors on your cells, okay? And the reason why this is important is because ACE2 is, the ACE2 receptors is what the virus binds to. The COVID virus binds to it. Other viruses do too, but for sure the COVID virus, that's the receptor it binds to get into your cells. So if you're diabetic, pre-diabetic, high sugar, hypoglycemic, insulin resistance, high insulin, any of those things, it is so much easier, okay, for the virus to invade your cells because you have way more ACE2 receptors, okay? Another thing is vitamin D, okay? I keep talking about this. I have videos where I'm talking about vitamin D in the immune system, also vitamin A, but vitamin D and vitamin A work together. But vitamin D deficiency itself is a pandemic. Vitamin D deficiencies are a serious problem on the planet, period, okay? Even in countries where there's a lot of sun, a lot of people are still vitamin D deficient because they're in the house, they're inside all day. During the hottest parts of the day, they're inside, and when they're outside, they're covered up a lot. A lot of people in the Middle East are covered up a lot. A lot of African countries, people are wearing a lot of clothes. When I'm in Cuba and Colombia, people be wearing a lot of clothes, even though it's really hot and sunny. And so when you have all your skin covered up, your body cannot absorb the sunlight to make vitamin D. But the more north you live, okay, the vitamin D deficiencies get a lot worse. And it's even more dramatic in black people. A lot of white people and lighter skinned people also have vitamin D deficiencies. But the darker your skin is, the harder it is for you to make vitamin D from the sun, and the slower it happens. And anytime they do blood tests of melanated people who live in northern regions, they're always like 100% vitamin D deficient. Then the older you get, the more susceptible you are to vitamin D deficiency. But very few people make sure that they are outside in the sun between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. exposed damn near naked, okay? Because you have to be damn near naked. Not many people do that. And if you're not making a really conscious effort to make sure you're not vitamin D deficient, then you are, okay? And almost everybody I know who gets their blood drawn ends up telling me they're vitamin D deficient. And that's a huge problem, okay, in the world, like I said, but the Afro American community, huge issue, all right? So those two things alone greatly open you up for getting morbidly sick from COVID. And I did a video yesterday on my other page, The Body Scientist 81, where I was talking about why so many young people are dying. Because there's a lot of people who people are saying are young and healthy, okay? But then they're dying of COVID. And a lot of it, there are a lot of similar reasons. A lot of it has to do with deep malnutrition. Now, besides the issue with diabetes and vitamin D deficiency, hypertension, which hypertension is also heavily linked to severe vitamin D deficiencies, okay? And when you have a vitamin D deficiency, it really opens you up for lung infections in particular. All kinds of infections, but there's direct and very strong correlations between vitamin D, adequate vitamin D levels, and the prevention of upper respiratory tract infections, okay? Asthma, all of those things. Even the little black kids are really vitamin D deficient, okay? Severely vitamin D deficient a lot of times. And the other thing about diabetes, not only with the ACE2 receptors, but also people who are diabetic, high sugar, hyperglycemic, high insulin, insulin resistance, pre-diabetic, any of that stuff, they also have a lot less neutrophils, okay? And neutrophils are immune cells in the body that are phagocytes. And phagocytes are cells that eat up other cells. So basically, neutrophils are phagocytes that eat viruses and bacteria. They eat them, and then they spray them with hydrogen peroxide and bleach and kill the virus, kill the bacteria, okay? Diabetics have 3 times less neutrophils, okay? They have a lot less neutrophils. I said 3 times less. I don't know where I got that number from. I just know that they have exponentially less neutrophils than somebody who's not diabetic or have high sugar. Hydrogen peroxide kills lipid-contained viruses. This is something that I've been studying and knowing since 2004, okay? And my introduction really to understanding that had to do, in its use in the body, had to do with consuming hydrogen peroxide producing bacteria. There are bacteria that produce hydrogen peroxide. And when we have a lot of those bacteria, good bacteria, which I talk about all the time, when we have a lot of that in our gut, hydrogen peroxide producing bacteria, if and when we get exposed to an infectious disease, an infectious organism, whether it be bacteria or a virus, and it comes in contact with all the hydrogen peroxide, it dies. Another thing about hydrogen peroxide is high in oxygen, H2O2, high in oxygen, okay? Oxygen kills viruses, lipid-contained viruses. Hydrogen peroxide for sure does, okay? So when you're diabetic, I mean, most people have an imbalance of bacteria. Unless you're going out of your way to consume fermented foods and take high-quality probiotics, most people have an imbalance of bacteria, and especially if you've been given a lot of antibiotics, right? Now, but diabetics who have sugar issues, a lot of times got that way because they were eating too much sugar. You don't become diabetic from eating pork. People always want to link pork to diabetes. It has nothing to do with diabetes. Pork is mostly fat and protein. Diabetes is a sugar problem, okay? And actually, the more fat you eat, the less sugar that you want. Eating a high-fat diet makes you crave less sugar, okay? I never, ever crave cookies, brownies, donuts. I don't ever crave that. I really don't, you know? The most sugar that I crave is like ice cream, and that's combined with a whole bunch of fat. I don't like super sweet ice cream, but like if I have a strawberry ice cream and it's like all this cream, that fat helps to stop your blood sugar levels from spiking so fast, okay? Because when you're consuming sweets, your blood sugar levels spike, or just eating bread, stuff like that, it spikes really, really fast, and that causes a lot of issues, and that sugar feeds the bad bacteria. Okay, I have a video on kicking sugar cravings, because when people have an imbalance of bacteria, that bad bacteria makes you crave sugar. It secretes hormones and things into your body that take over your brain and make you crave sugar. So you could be trying like, oh, I'm not gonna eat this, I'm not gonna eat this, I need to stop eating so much sugar, and you can't, because it's the bacteria. That is bacterial organisms. We have trillions of them in our gut. And so when it's out of balance, it opens you up to a lot of stuff. Diabetics definitely have that issue. That's the reason why they're in that situation in the first place. So depleted hydrogen peroxide producing bacteria, then you have a lot of bad bacteria in your gut that's welcoming to infectious organisms. Then you have a lot more ACE2 receptors on your cells for viruses to just bind to, okay, and get into your cells. You have a lot less neutrophils, okay? Then you have a lot of Afro Americans with severe vitamin D deficiencies. Practically all of us do. You know, this is why I'm always on my parents about taking cow liver oil, eating liver. Thankfully, they both like liver, so they eat liver like once or twice a week. You know, and I have videos where I talk more about vitamin D and what kind of foods to find it in. So check those videos out. But that's a serious issue, and I will post references below, because every video that I do when I'm talking about things, I like to post references below so you can go do your own research, okay? But there's a lot of, and then you have hypertension too. So a lot of Afro Americans now, the food system in general is jacked up in this country, and not just in this country. I travel a lot of countries, especially in the Caribbean, South America, a lot of times they're worse than the United States, okay? So, I mean, I remember when I was in Haiti, I never saw so much soda in my life. You know, Colombia, they drink way more soda than I see in the United States, okay? And so, when you have, you know, so in the world, there's a lot of bad food and health issues, but all of that gets compounded when you're darker skinned in the north. And then you have just like the stress of being black in America, which also, we know stress greatly weakens your immune system as well and causes a whole bunch of health problems. Now, sometimes people can say, you know, black people need to make better decisions, and that's true, and that's not just true for black people, because I always have to say, there are a lot of other people too who have diabetes and hypertension and vitamin D deficiencies, right? And it's kind of unfair on the one hand, because you could say that people should make better decisions, but in defense of them, I know that a lot of people don't know. Like most people, like the things I'm telling you right now, most of you don't know that. You know, a lot of people don't know that. Like they might think that they're doing good drinking juice every morning. You know, juice is a bunch of sugar too. So they may not realize how damaging, you know, their diet is. A lot of people don't know what they're eating. That's why if you follow my IG page, The Body Scientist, it's the_body_scientist. If you follow that page, you'll see that I constantly post different like foods, or it could be soaps or household products, and I analyze the ingredients, and I'm showing people how toxic a lot of the stuff is that you're eating, and you guys have no idea what it is, because the food industry is super tricky, okay? The food industry is very, very tricky with how they label things and how they market things. There are a lot of hidden ingredients and toxins, okay? In Chicago, you know, I'm in Chicago right now, but it seems like Chicago and New York and New Orleans, black people are the majority of people that are dying. New York doesn't have an obesity problem like Chicago does, but we still have some overweight people, of course. It's not as bad as the rest of the country, but we have some. And a high percentage of the people who are passing, sorry, that was my speaker. A high percentage of the people who are passing away are obese, okay? And that's not all of them, but a lot of them are overweight. And being overweight greatly increases your chances of passing away from COVID-19. And there are a lot of Afro Americans who are very overweight. But again, we know it's not just Black Americans, because there's a lot of white Americans and Hispanics who are also overweight, and they've also been dying, right? But in the Afro American community, I think maybe we have that problem more. If I looked at the stats, I don't know. So being really overweight also greatly increases your chances of succumbing. And so all these things that I'm telling you is very high in the Afro-American community. Okay, it's also high amongst Native Americans. So I do worry about, certain Native American groups and how they'll do during this situation, okay? So definitely take a look at the other videos I've done on this topic, and you'll learn a lot, and you'll be able to piece together certain things, what you need to be doing, what you need to be looking out for, okay? Because unless you're going to walk around in a plastic suit the rest of your life, we're always going to be exposed to infectious diseases, okay? There's nothing that it could be from the air that we breathe, the water that we drink, the food that we eat, just walking down the street, whatever. There's bacteria and viruses all around us, so we can't see it. This is the reason why your immune system and your microbiome being in tip-top shape is everything. It's all you really have. It's all you really have. You can wash your hands all you want. But if you walk into some air that somebody just breathed in 20 minutes ago, okay, you may very well breathe it in your nose, okay? And so a lot of people are saying, oh, well, it's about the healthcare disparities. When the Black people go to the hospital, they're not getting the same care. But the fact of the matter is that they're not really doing anything for anybody in the hospital, okay? The hospitals are really only taking COVID patients if you're damn near dying, okay? People who just don't feel good or whatever, they're just getting sent home and to do it alone, at home, to go out alone. But if people who are really, really sick, they don't even know what to do, and you hear doctors everywhere saying that there's nothing that they can do. That's why they feel so horrible, because they see all these people gasping for air. There's nothing that they can do. So it's not about, oh, the white people have better health care. It's not about that, okay? Because nobody knows what the hell to do. Even though there's lots of home remedies, which I've made videos about, what to do if you start experiencing COVID symptoms, how to strengthen your immune system. There are things that you can do, but not in the hospital, okay? Because in the hospital, they're not going to start giving you herbal teas. In the hospital, they're not going to give you herbal steams. In the hospital, they are not going to give you castor oil packs. In the hospital, they're not going to give you probiotics, okay? So the hospital can't do that. Only thing they can do is administer drugs. And there are no drugs, okay, that are proven to work against this. So it doesn't matter if you're Black or white. If you end up in the hospital, if your body's not able to fight it off, and you get on a ventilator, it's a high percentage that you're going to die, period, okay? So in this case, I don't think it's fair, assessment just to simply say, oh, Black people don't have the same access to healthcare. No, Black people in America have a lot more health problems, a lot more comorbidities, and some of it is that, we can make better decisions and we could care more. Because in general, as a fitness professional, as a general statement, I do feel like white people care more about working out and exercising and trying to take care of themselves than Black people do. And even they don't always do it right, and they have their mistakes too, but they at least put more effort into it, I see, than Black people, as a general statement, okay? General statement in America. And also, people with lighter skin do not have the severity of vitamin D deficiencies that Black people or melanated people have, okay? Our vitamin D deficiencies are a lot worse, severely worse. And again, that opens you up to all kinds of infections of all sorts, especially upper respiratory tract infections. And it weakens your immune system, because vitamin D is critical for your immune system, as is vitamin A, and they go together. And severe vitamin D deficiencies are seriously linked to high blood pressure. So just look at how it's all, and see, this is what I do when I work with my clients. I have clients, they'll tell me all these different things that's happening or going on in their body. They have this issue, this issue, this issue. A lot of times these 3 or 4 issues are linked to 1 or 2 things that's lacking in your diet, or 1 or 2 imbalances in your body Nutritional imbalances is causing all these other issues, and thus making you susceptible to 100 other things, and it's all related. It's not a medicine for this and a medicine for that and no, all related, okay? So, yeah, I just wanted to offer some insight into that. Look into what I'm saying, consider it, okay? Because it's not so simple. And anybody who's eating low quality foods and a whole bunch of processed crap and chemicals and too much sugar, doesn't exercise, is overweight, yada, 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 is highly susceptible, all right? All right, people, so if you learned something in this video, please like it, please share it. Please join my pages and check my links below. Keep doing your research, keep taking care of yourselves, and have a good day. Bye.